How does New York City calculate property tax? Well, that's a long story, but let's just look at the end result. If we take a look, every property is a special case. So, in order to make sense of it, you have to look at every single property, and the best thing to do is color code the properties. And that's what these maps are doing. Every single property is rated based on how close it is to the tax limit, the upper limit that they can tax based on the law, which it's easy to remember as S7000A, if you look it up in Wikipedia. Now, the little blue dots are properties that you might think are better off because they're lower taxed, but the truth is that they will get tax increases for the next 20, 30, 40 years if nothing changes. So they have good and bad. They have a high market value, and their assessed value is below the limit of what New York State tax law says can happen for New York City and Nassau County. The red are closer to the limit, but you can see that Manhattan is just filled with red, which also will limit the assessment growth or the property tax growth for New York City. There's little pockets of blue down here in Greenwich Village, I guess, or near NYU country. That's because the properties have appreciated in value usually. And then Williamsburg and Greenpoint, you can see over here in Brooklyn also. The pockets of blue are usually cases of appreciated value. But you can see that other parts like the Bronx and Queens, I think this is the Bronx, it's a lot of red here because they have not appreciated in value as much, so the assessment has been keeping up. This is Brooklyn, and you can see Park Slope over here is very high value, or the market value went up, and there are a lot of condos there, so not condos, but a lot of old brownstones, so they have a very high value, very low assessed value, which means they pay very low property tax. And there's pockets of blue all over the place in Brooklyn, but it's mostly red. And then if you look at Queens, it's mostly red. And Staten Island is all red, because they just don't have high market values, and they also have high taxes and high property assessed values, they call it. And that's pretty much it. I highly recommend that you look at this information. It's at the nyc.tidalforce.org, and peace out.